Something feels different in Cleveland right now. You can sense it in the air at Berea, a quiet intensity as the front office looks to finalize this roster. We know the window is open, but there is this lingering feeling that the puzzle isn't quite complete. For us real fans, the faithful who bleed orange and brown, every move carries the weight of our Super Bowl dreams. Before we dive into the latest buzz shifting the landscape, hit that like button and subscribe if you believe this is our year. The pressure is mounting, and something big is coming very soon. The atmosphere around the building has been heavy with anticipation since that news about AJ Epinesa broke. We all heard the reports about the deal falling through because of the physical, and it left a glaring hole in the rotation that nobody expected to be there this late in the game. But here's the thing about Andrew Berry and this front office. They never just sit on their hands when a plan changes. There is a specific name starting to circulate around the facility that should make every Browns fan sit up and take notice. We are talking about Leonard Floyd. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. He's been around the league, he's seen a lot of battles, but that is exactly why this move feels so calculated. The Browns aren't just looking for a body. They are looking for a veteran who knows how to finish. When you look at the landscape of our defense, we have the cornerstone in Myles Garrett, the absolute best in the business. But even a titan like Myles needs a running mate who can capitalize when the double teams come. Reports suggest that Floyd is the prime candidate to fill that void left by the Epinesa situation. And honestly, it makes a ton of sense when you look at the financials. We are sitting on roughly $21 million in cap space, and Floyd's market value is hovering around $9 million for a one-year flyer. This isn't a move that ties our hands for the next 3 years. It's a surgical strike to bolster the unit for a deep playoff run right now. Think about the implications of having a guy who has notched double-digit sacks in recent seasons coming off the edge in a rotational role. It changes the math for opposing offensive coordinators. They can't just slide protection toward Myles and hope for the best if there is a proven finisher on the other side. There is a growing sense of urgency to get this defensive line depth sorted out before the real heavy lifting begins. This news is a trigger for something much larger in the defensive room. It signals that the Browns are not content with just being good. They are hunting for that missing piece to become elite in every single phase of the game this year. Now, this is where it gets really interesting for those of us who follow every detail of this coaching staff. There is a hidden connection here that most national media outlets are completely overlooking. Our new defensive coordinator, Mike Rutenberg, spent significant time with Leonard Floyd last season when they were both with the Atlanta Falcons. That kind of existing relationship isn't just a coincidence in the NFL, it's a roadmap. Rutenberg knows exactly how to utilize Floyd's remaining burst and where he fits into a modern passing game defensive scheme. When a coordinator has that level of familiarity with a veteran, the learning curve disappears. He isn't just a name on a list. He's a player with a pre-approved blueprint. But we have to talk about the risks, because that's what real fans do. Floyd is 33 years old. At that age, every season is a gamble against the clock. Last year, his production dipped a bit, and those PFF rankings weren't exactly something you'd put on a billboard. Some analysts are pointing to his 82nd place ranking out of over 100 pass rushers as a red flag. They see a player whose prime years are fading into the rearview mirror, but I look at it differently. I see a guy who had 10.5 sacks for the Bills just 2 seasons ago. I see a player who was a key contributor for the Rams during a championship window. Roster depth in the NFL is about finding value in the margins. And if Floyd can give us 6 to 8 sacks in a rotational role, that is a massive win for this defense. The pressure on the young guys to step up immediately would be alleviated by having a seasoned pro in the room. It creates a dynamic where the coaching staff doesn't have to overwork the starters early in the season. There's a psychological edge to this, too. Bringing in a veteran who has been in big games sends a message to the rest of the roster. It says the front office believes we are one veteran pass rusher away from being the most feared unit in the AFC North. This connection between Rutenberg and Floyd could be the bridge that brings that veteran presence to Cleveland. It feels like a move that is being discussed behind closed doors with a lot of intention right now really soon. But this is where things change and the stakes get significantly higher for the 2026 season. We have to ask ourselves, what does this really mean for the identity of this Browns defense? Because this could become something much bigger than just a depth signing. If Floyd comes in and recaptures that double-digit sack form he showed in Buffalo and San Francisco, we aren't just talking about a backup. We are talking about a defensive front that becomes an absolute nightmare to game plan against. Imagine the third and long scenarios. You have Myles Garrett on one side and a rejuvenated Leonard Floyd on the other, both being orchestrated by a coordinator who knows their every strength. That's the dream, right? But the biggest question remains the consistency. If the version of Floyd we see is the one that struggled in the run game last year, does that compromise the integrity of our defensive philosophy? We've seen what happens when this team can't get off the field on third down, and we can't afford any weak links in the chain. This is why the emotional weight of this potential signing is so heavy for the fan base. We've been through the lean years, and we know how precious these windows of contention are. Every decision Andrew Barry makes is under a microscope, because we all feel the clock ticking. The roster is loaded, the talent is undeniable, but the chemistry and the veteran leadership are what usually separate the contenders from the champions. If Floyd is that missing ingredient, his age doesn't matter. What matters is the production in those high-leverage moments in January. There is a tension in this move because it represents the fine line between calculated risk and veteran desperation. Some see a 33-year-old on the decline, but I see a professional who knows how to navigate the grind of a 17-game season. The implications for the rest of the depth chart are massive. It forces the younger players to elevate their game or lose their snaps. It creates a competitive environment that pushes everyone to be better. And that is the type of culture we need if we are going to finally knock the Kings of the North off their throne. This potential move is a signal to the rest of the league that Cleveland is still hunting for greatness every day. I'm going to be honest with you all, this actually makes me feel a lot better about where this roster is heading. I really like this move, or at least the logic behind it. When the Epinesa deal fell apart, I'll admit I was worried. It felt like we were going to be left scrambling, maybe forced to overpay someone out of panic or settle for a player who didn't fit the scheme. But Leonard Floyd isn't a panic move. He's a veteran with a high floor who fits a very specific need. I think fans should pay attention to how low risk this actually is. If we sign him to a one-year deal like the reports suggest, and he doesn't perform up to expectations, we haven't lost anything long-term. We don't have to carry his contract into 2027, and we didn't have to give up any draft capital to get him. It is the definition of a prove-it deal for a guy who has plenty left to prove to the doubters. I've watched enough Browns football to know that you can never have too many pass rushers. Injuries happen, fatigue sets in, and games are won in the trenches in the fourth quarter. Having a guy who can step in and provide a spark is invaluable. I really believe his connection with Mike Rutenberg is the key that unlocks his potential here. If Rutenberg can put him in positions to succeed, letting him pin his ears back on passing downs and not asking him to do too much in the run game, we could see a major bounce-back year. This actually worries me a little bit, though, because it shows how much we are relying on these veteran stopgaps to keep the window open. But in today's NFL, that is just how you build a winner. You supplement your core stars with experienced specialists. I'm cautiously optimistic because the math adds up. The cap space is there, the need is obvious, and the coaching connection is established. It feels like the kind of smart, under-the-radar move that championship teams make in the summer to solidify their standing. We don't need Leonard Floyd to be a superstar. We just need him to be the veteran presence that keeps the pressure on while Myles Garrett does his thing. If he can do that, this defense is going to be special indeed for us. The story of this offseason is far from over, and this potential move for Leonard Floyd is just the latest chapter in what has been a roller coaster of emotions for Browns fans. We've seen deals fall through and new opportunities emerge, and it keeps all of us on the edge of our seats. But that's what makes being a part of this community so intense. We care about the details because we know they are the difference between a playoff exit and a deep run toward a title. The uncertainty surrounding the defensive line depth is starting to clear, but the execution remains to be seen. Will Andrew Barry pull the trigger on this veteran addition? Or is there another surprise waiting for us around the corner? One thing is for certain, the front office is being aggressive, and they aren't afraid to look for answers in experienced players. This feels like the calm before the storm, a period of quiet preparation before the real battles begin on the field. I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Do you think Floyd is the right fit for this defense, or should we be looking elsewhere? Does his age worry you, or do you trust the Rutenberg connection? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button to support the channel, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a single update on our Browns. The journey is just beginning, and we are in this together. Go Browns always!